Hello, this is KK10 coming at you with another video, and in today's video we're going to be doing a Call of Duty tier list, and I just want to explain a couple of my thoughts on it. I think this is going to be a little bit more live, a little more maybe raw. It'll probably still be cut quite a bit. Now the first game I'm going to put on here, this one might be quite controversial, but this one's going to be Warzone 2. The reason I put it here is that I think it was a massive downgrade between Warzone 1. And I also think it probably is my least played mode out of any Call of Duty game. And I would consider the Warzone games to be completely separate games because they have that huge map. It's a ton of players and it's different every time you drop in. So I would consider them big enough to be their own game. Next on my list would be Infinite Warfare. Now this game, whenever it first was revealed, I was one of those people that disliked that trailer. I think we all know the story behind it. It was one of the most tainted trailers on YouTube. It came out, it was an okay game. I think I got to like level 45 or like 50, and then I think I stopped playing completely, and it was just like, you know, one of those games that just died for me immediately. Now I did hear that the campaign was good, but I'm more of a multiplayer kind of guy, so I'm just going to put Infinite Warfare right there. Next game up, Advanced Warfare. Now, after Call of Duty Ghost had come out, it was time for Sledgehammer's first Call of Duty game they ever made. And Advanced Warfare is one of those games that is just so odd in terms of the Call of Duty franchise. It came out in that weird transition period between the generations, and also Call of Duty Ghost did, but it was very hard for me and my brother to get invested into a game after Call of Duty Ghost had come out, because at that point that was our first COD game that had disappointed us. And so me and my brother never actually bought Advanced Warfare until a couple years after it came out and it was on sale. We tried it. I thought it was okay, just the supply drops and everything else in it kind of ruined it. The fact that it was a little bit pay to win, I think, also wasn't helping. Next up, we're going to jump to that D tier, and this is going to be Modern Warfare 2019. Modern Warfare 2019 I never played on release, and I did play it whenever the pandemic hit. I started to play Warzone with me, my brother, and his friend, and then after that I bought the game. I leveled up a few guns. I thought Ground War was pretty interesting. It was the only mode that I really enjoyed playing. Later on, I would find Shipment 24/7, and I would just stick in that playlist and only grind my guns and try to get camos and other things like that. So I did have a little bit of enjoyment on the game. I just never really got that deep into it. I just thought the Claymores and the 725s and everything else, the campiness, just how slow some of the big maps played, it was just not my type of game. Now next up we have the trilogy of Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3. I never really played much of these games. I played Call of Duty 1 a little bit, and I played Call of Duty 2 quite a bit on the 360, like way after it came out. And then Call of Duty 3 I actually played on the Wii, so I don't have much experience, but I remember the campaign for Call of Duty 3 probably being the most fun. I remember playing the campaign for 2, and the campaign for 1 I don't think I ever touched. So they're just going to go in D tier because I don't know where else to put them. Now lastly for the D tier, we're going to have Modern Warfare 2, the one from 2022 of course, not the original. This game I played on release. I remember I bought it pretty much the day after, I think, or the day of, or the day after launch. Played the beta, I thought it was okay, so I decided I'll pick up the game, you know. The campaign was okay, definitely nothing surprising. This is the only Call of Duty campaign that I've ever played the year that it came out. I normally just stick to the multiplayer. The multiplayer was very slow, very boring. Most of the maps were far too big and porous, and there was too many camping spots. So I mostly played Shipment in this one too. Now coming up to the C tier, we're going to have Black Ops 4. Now this one I did play quite a bit of the zombies, quite a bit of the multiplayer. Not as much as the other games in the Call of Duty franchise, but I definitely put a lot of hours into this one. I think the zombies was probably the best thing about it. I think I played so many hours of it. I loved like going for the camos in the zombies mode. The multiplayer I wish I played a little more of. In general, the specialist abilities for me kind of ruined it. There were too much focus on the specialist abilities. Also, you didn't auto regenerate health. You had to actually physically start healing. You had to press a button to start healing. And I just didn't enjoy that. I thought that was a very dumb decision that they made. And lastly, I want to say some of the kill streaks were very weirdly balanced. Some of the big ones were too easy to destroy, and then some of the like easier ones to get were too good. Also, there was no campaign to speak of, so that's why it's going in the C tier. Next, we have Call of Duty World War II. This is the COD game that I probably have the least amount of time played on. Maybe Infinite Warfare is up there, but this one I barely played. I played this before they did the whole rework with the requisition system. I personally did not enjoy that they removed perks. I did like that they have pick 10. The campaign, we played one mission, me and my brother. We laughed at the starting mission, and we never played the rest of it. It was the 1 year in Call of Duty where I actually didn't play at all throughout the year. Next up, we have Call of Duty Vanguard. Now, I think this one gets way too much hate for what it did. It was basically a reskin of Modern Warfare 2019, so I personally did not enjoy it as much as other Call of Duty games, just because it was so similar to that game. They did speed it up a little bit. I think the game was faster paced than Modern Warfare 2019. Besides, the slide canceling didn't work exactly how it did in 2019, so it was slightly slower in that way. But I think they made the Ghost actually work where you have to move. They had some interesting perks that promoted movement. The only thing is this game did not have good zombies until about halfway through, and then even then they only added 2 maps that were round based, and the campaign was laughable to say the least. It was probably one of the worst Call of Duty campaigns I've ever played. I think I played the first mission, never played the rest of it. But yeah, I did actually quite enjoy the multiplayer. Just the fact that everything else about the game sucks is why it's going in the C tier. Now we're going up to B tier, and this tier starts off with Warzone Caldera. I didn't play too much Warzone Caldera personally because this was the first time where Warzone, in my opinion, took a big hit to its reputation. The whole integration did not work very well with Warzone 1 turning into Caldera. I will say I think Warzone 84, the map was pretty cool, how they kind of changed it up, and it was still the same map, but it was different in a lot of ways, and I think it was overall a better map, a little bit healthier in terms of there being less like buildings and stadium you couldn't camp on, and there was a couple areas where it definitely was better. I think a few areas where it was a little worse. In terms of the weapon balance too, it wasn't very good. And overall, I think it was just an okay game. Now next up we have Black Ops Cold War. This was probably one of my favorite games whenever it first came out. I loved it. It was like older Call of Duties, and it just felt really nice to go back to that, to not have tac sprint as well. It just felt different, and I really enjoyed how fast-paced it felt. I really enjoyed a lot of the kill streaks. I think the only one that was really bad was the one that would kill all the kill streaks that were up in the sky already. That one really sucked, and I think they should have removed that. The score streak system did kind of hurt it, and I definitely think overall it was probably one of the more boring Call of Duty games. But I think in general, the fun that I had at launch kind of overweighed the boringness that I felt towards the middle of the year. Also, the zombies in Black Ops Cold War was absolutely phenomenal. Compared to the zombies of Black Ops 4, I think it was a little bit better. I liked how after every round you could spend your crystals to gain more and better equipment. To sum things up, I think the game was just really solid. Now next up, this one might get a lot of people going, but Call of Duty Ghosts. Now this game, it started out really bad, but I think the DLC cycle really saved it. Especially the Mutiny, I think was the map with like the whole ships, and it was like piratey themed, and the Gold Rush map. There was just a lot of fun maps that came out. The Michael Myers one. The interest for the game definitely came back towards the middle of the year, and also Call of Duty Ghosts had a quite solid campaign. Wasn't the best campaign ever out there, but it was suitable, and I think it was better than a lot of people give it credit for. And then lastly, I want to say the extinction mode was pretty fun. It was something interesting. It wasn't zombies, and at that time we had been zombied out. You know, we needed a different game mode, and that was a fun one that kind of spiced things up, and it never really came back. Now we're going up to the A tier. We're going to be talking about Call of Duty Warzone as our first A tier. Now this one is going to be a lot harder to defend nowadays because I think a lot of people do have quite a bit of nostalgia towards Verdansk, and I don't share that same nostalgia towards Verdansk. I think it was just, at that time, there was nothing really to do besides play Call of Duty, and a lot of people were playing, and I think Verdansk was a okay map. It was solid. The weapons and gunplay was very fun. They absolutely nailed it out of the park with everything, including the visuals. but just the gameplay of getting the bounty contracts, getting the scavenger contracts, getting your loadout, trying to go for the win, you know, playing kind of stealthy and looking for where people were and making sure you weren't getting sniped at. It was just so much fun to play for that first year of Warzone. The seasonal content was perfect for the game. I wish the only thing they did was add another map. That would have been an absolute like S tier contender if they added another map besides Verdansk, but they never did. All they really did was add meta weapons or different weapons that would kind of change it up a little bit. I don't think anything was really added that was super broken, but it was always something that was like could compete and had a spot in that meta. And overall, I think the first Warzone is the best Battle Royale game mode that we've had for Call of Duty. Now next we got the most recent Call of Duty game, Modern Warfare 3. This game just came out, so this ranking might change over time. I think right now though it is probably one of my favorite Call of Duty games out of the past 5 years. Now Black Ops 3 is the next Call of Duty game that I have on this list. Now this one I put here because it's the best Call of Duty game with jetpacks in it. I thought the zombies was incredible, especially Shadows of Evil and Reisendrock. The campaign wasn't the best, which is the reason why it's not an S tier, but the multiplayer was incredible, especially like the Raps kill streak. That was the first time we ever seen that one. It was similar to Dogs, but it was very fun, and also a little bit of the supply drop stuff does ruin it and take it down a notch for me. Next up we have Modern Warfare 2, World at War, and Modern Warfare. Now they are put in that specific order because they all three came out in the 3 years of between 2007 and 2009. Now Modern Warfare 2 is my least favorite because of the noob tubes. I think that kind of ruined the game for me. Multiplayer was good. World at War I didn't play on release, and all these games I didn't play on release actually. But World at War I thought was okay. I think it was a little better balanced than Modern Warfare 2, but it was still an incredible Call of Duty game. It was also the first one to have zombies, and I think the zombies was spectacular. And COD 4, the reason I put it at number 1 is I really enjoyed the remaster of it. That's the only game that I really played that actually resembles COD 4. But the remaster was so incredible, and I went back and I played the original, and I really gotta say it is one of the best Call of Duty games ever to come out. Now in the S tier we have Black Ops, Modern Warfare 3, and Black Ops 2 as our final 3. Black Ops 1 I put at number 3 because I didn't play much in the multiplayer. I played a lot more of the zombies. I also did not play it whenever it first came out. I bought it a year later. Well, I guess I got it for Christmas a year later. Kino der Toten, Moon, all these incredible zombies maps. This is the reason that I put Black Ops 1 at number 3. I think the zombies was incredible. It was probably the best iteration. We also had the 4 remasters of World at War, and on top of this the multiplayer was incredible and the campaign was incredible. Overall, one of the best Call of Duty games. So in second place we have Modern Warfare 3. Now this one is here mainly because it's my first Call of Duty game, and it was my favorite. It also had survival mode where you would play on all the maps and play against AI soldiers and try to fight off waves of them, buy gear, upgrade, get perks, call in kill streaks. It was just a super fun mode that never came back in any other Call of Duty game, and it's very unique. Next I want to talk about the multiplayer. The multiplayer was definitely a little bit unbalanced, but it was very fun. You had support packages where you could die, but you would keep your kill streak. You had assault where it was like regular kill streaks, and you had specialists where it would give you perks based on how many kills you got. The sniping in this game was incredible. The snipers were really strong with the quick draw perk. And then lastly, the campaign was okay. As a package though, it's a very solid game. Lastly, we have Black Ops 2. Now this one, I should not have to explain why. I think most people would consider this one to be the best Call of Duty game. Really good zombies. Not one of the best zombies, but I think really good. Multiplayer incredible. Probably the best in the peak of the series. Campaign was super fun. Very interesting setting. The first futuristic game that they ever came out with. And the best. If you don't have Black Ops 2 as your number 1 game in your tier list, I want to know why. I just think it's one of the best games. I don't think anyone would ever have it in a spot lower than S. But yeah guys, let me know what you think about this tier list in the comments below. I want to hear your guys' tier list and I want to see them. I hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.